in episode 16, where this what if would take place and where the story will actually shift. Because you see, something's gonna change that will change the entire timeline. Starscream in this timeline decides to listen to Megatron and decides not to save, or should I say, rescue Breakdown. Now, let's begin. Episode 16, like I said, where we would see Bulkhead obviously coming in to save Breakdown. This is like in the middle of the episode, and that will go the same. Him saving Breakdown and them fighting through Mech and Silas, and both of them are getting overwhelmed with the humans busy shooting at them and busy firing them and pretty much just trying to overwhelm them. But the other Autobots will come in to save them, which will force Silas and his crew to leave. Now, Breakdown comes to Optimus and the other Autobots and thanks everyone for saving him, but he's still loyal to the Decepticon cause. So he decides to contact the Decepticon HQ to like pick him up and all that. Now he tries contacting the Decepticon communications. No response. Confused, he decides to contact Megatron. No response. He tries to contact Starscream. No response. He tries to contact Soundwave. No response. And a last ditch effort, he tries to contact Knockout. No response. Confused, Breakdown asks, why isn't anyone picking up? Hearing this, Optimus says, oh, I think I know why. As Breakdown turns around and looks at Optimus, wondering what he knows, Prime will tell him, I believe Megatron abandoned you. Hearing this shocks Breakdown, who looks at Optimus with a surprised and confused face. He's like, Lord Megatron abandoning me? No, that's not possible. I'm his muscle. Why would he just leave me? And Bulkhead's like, you got captured by humans. Hearing this, Breakdown looks at Bulkhead and he thinks for a little bit. Megatron isn't the type of guy to just come and save anyone. He knows that from personal experience. He thinks he got captured by humans, but no one came for him. Thinking hard, he realizes he tried to contact anybody. He tried to contact the Decepticon HQ, the Decepticon Nemesis' communications, but no one was responding to him. Like, like they assume he's dead. Thinking about this, Breakdown wonders: was he abandoned by Megatron? Was he left behind? Surprised, Breakdown then realizes Megatron doesn't care. He wouldn't come to save him. He would leave him to die. Realizing this, Breakdown finally realizes Megatron isn't going to save him. No one is. He's not cut out of the Decepticon communications for no reason. He's cut out because they assume he's dead. Realizing this, Breakdown is shocked, surprised, and angry. He fought for the Decepticons for years. And because he slipped up once, because he fell short, because he didn't notice the surprise attack from Mech, and was experimented on and captured and even tortured, no one is here to save him, his own cause. But the Autobots, his enemies, his adversaries, the bots he even hates, came to save him. Realizing his Breakdown, thinks for a bit. And seeing him ponder, Optimus tells him, well, I know Megatron isn't gonna send anyone to save you or anything, so Breakdown, I'm offering you this chance. Join us and become a member of the Autobot cause. As Optimus pretty much puts out his hand for a handshake, Breakdown looks at him and then looks at his hand. He thinks for like a little bit. Megatron left him to die. He doesn't really know. Well, technically he did. Megatron actually left him to die because in the original timeline, Megatron didn't hesitate to leave him to die, and Starscream was the one to save him. And if it wasn't for Starscream, he would have never been able to Silicon Course. But anywho, Breakdown does realize this. The Autobots came to save him. Maybe it wasn't for like a good reason. Maybe it was even a selfish reason. It doesn't matter. But they came for him. His own enemies, his own adversaries came for him. They came to save him. Realizing this, Breakdown looks at Optimus's hand and then looks back at Optimus and decides to shake it. He swears allegiance to the Autobot cause. He tells Optimus that he knows he cannot redeem himself or like pretty much make all of his crimes disappear, but he promises to serve and to protect all Autobots. He promises to serve the Autobot cause and protect Earth and its people and any Autobot who needs help. Hearing this, Optimus smiles as they decide to recruit him towards the Autobot cause. Oh, and by the way, Ratchet managed to grab Breakdown's eye and they will take him back to base. Ratchet will fix up his eye because in the original timeline, Megatron didn't allow his eye to be fixed up because he failed him. Don't know why, but which makes sense. But at the same time, Megatron was so cruel. Dang, bro said, "I'm not gonna allow you to see again. I'm only gonna allow you to have one eye because you failed me once." Oh, Megatron. Bro would do anything. Like, he will harm, beat, or even allow some of his own soldiers to die. But if it's Starscream, no, we have to save him or something. I don't know. Bro has a problem. He has a big problem. And he allows Starscream to be around him so much. The guy almost killed him like 50 times. But that's Megatron for you. But anywho, Breakdown, after getting his eye repaired, gets an Autobot symbol attached to his chest and his forearms. And now he's part of the Autobot cause. And as he looks at his new team and his new members and the humans, Miko looks at this like, wow, you actually managed to bromance him. That's hilarious. As she's kind of surprised that Bulkhead managed to do some bromance. But Bulkhead is like, nah, that's Optimus right there. I didn't bromance him. That was Optimus. And Prime like, isn't this your best friend? And Bulkhead's like, hey, listen, OP, I didn't convince him. That was mostly you right there. You were talking to him. And besides, Megatron betrayed him, so you know what? That's you. And Optimus like, well, that is true. I was the one who actually technically convinced him, which is true. So Optimus did some bromance, yeah. And Breakdown is part of the All About Cause. Now, let's see how the timeline's gonna change. We will skip to episode 17 because episode 16 will just end off with Breakdown just joining the Autobots, Raph and Jack. I don't remember if they were there in the episode, but if they weren't, they just come in, find out from Miko, and Miko would explain the story of how he joined, and Raph and Jack are happy to have a extra Autobots, and everyone is just happy. Now, episode 17 plays out the same. There is no differences in this episode. I can't change anything because Breakdown won't really be there. So, yeah, this episode is just completely the same. But we will have like a scene of him. Like, remember when Bumblebee and RC were attacking an Energon mine? Yeah, Breakdown will be there with them, helping them out. And yeah, he's gonna do some damage to Bumblebee. Now, episode 17 will just end up the same. There is no differences. Jude or June or whatever her name was, Jack's mom, still finds out and joins the Autobots. Now we skip to episode 18. In the beginning, it plays out the same. Jack's mom coming in and asking where's Optimus, and Ratchet telling her that he went with Bumblebee on a scouting mission, and her making the same comment saying I wore heels and everything, which was so weird. She even sitting in front of her son. Dang. That That's just so weird. Weird as hell. But anywho, yeah. And Jack obviously saying mom and all that. And RC and Jack trying to do some training exercise, but obviously Jack's mom will stop her, thinking it's too dangerous for Jack. RC gets irritated, and Ratchet decides to send Breakdown and Bulkhead on a mission to grab an ancient artifact or check something out. I forgot. I forgot. I forgot if he tried to like. I remember in the original episode he tried to send Bulkhead on the mission by himself. I don't think he knew that it was a relic, but doesn't really matter. He sends both Breakdown and Bulkhead, and RC still joins in, and obviously Miko will come in. That doesn't change. And yeah, most of the episode play out the same, but now this is where the change is coming. You see, in the original timeline was Breakdown who was sent to grab it, but since he's part of the Autobots, who's gonna be here actually to get the artifacts? Instead of it being Breakdown, it's actually Knockout and Soundwave. Yeah, kind of surprising. And yeah, these two would still dig out the artifacts the same way, not the same way Breakdown did, but at the same time like how Breakdown did it. Like yeah, like they managed to get it at the same time when Breakdown did in the original timeline. You know what I'm trying to say. But we still have Arachnid attack them as usual, and Soundwave will fight Arachnid by himself, and he will throw the Perendli Gauntlet towards no, Knockout. Sorry, he will throw the Perendli Gauntlet towards Knockout, and Knockout grabs it and he's just holding it. And Soundwave and Arachnid will have the same fight as Breakdown and Arachnid in the original timeline. The difference is that she's fighting Soundwave. So yeah, she's getting sneak attack and Laserbeak will be helping out. So Arachnid is having a very, very hard time. But the Autobots would appear. And Breakdown, RC, and Bulkhead see the fight between Arachnid and Soundwave. Now, obviously, RC still has a grudge towards Arachnid. So she will still ask Bulkhead to throw her up in the air to shoot against Arachnid. And yeah, he does the same thing. And Bulkhead will rush into like fight Soundwave while RC fights Arachnid. And they would just quickly sneak attack them. Like simply Bulkhead would just throw RC up in the air and RC shoots at both of them like straight in the chest, sending them stumbling back, and quickly Bulkhead will jump out of his hiding spot, rushes in, and uses his wrecking ball to sucker punch Soundwave in the face, send the bro flying straight to some debris or rocks. And we would see Breakdown looking at his body knockouts. Now, Knockout tries to use the Friendly Gauntlet, and we would see Breakdown come in front of him, and he's like, whoa, whoa, wait, Knockout, it's me. Hold on a second. And seeing Breakdown, Knockout actually stops, like he switches off the artifact for a second, and he's like, Breakdown? How are you alive? I was told by Megatron you were killed by humans and experimented on as well. But how are you alive? And Breakdown will tell the story like how the Autobots came in, how they saved him, and how they gave him a second chance and all that, and yada yada. Just telling him that the Autobots pretty much saved him and helped him. And we would just see in the background RC and Arachnid and Bulkhead and Soundwave basically just squaring off. All of them fighting each other. Well, not really. RC and Bulkhead are just fighting Soundwave and Arachnid while fighting them. And RC and Arachnid have the same fights like in the original timeline. And Soundwave and Bulkhead are having an even fight. The only reason I'm saying it's even because Bulkhead managed to sucker punch and sneak attack Soundwave. Even though he's fighting against Laserbeak and Soundwave, he managed to like sneak attack Soundwave. So it allows them to be at least be equally matched. Now, as the fight continues, Breakdown tells Knockout, listen, Knockout, I know I might have okay, yeah, I betrayed the Decepticon cause. But to be fair, no one came to save me, even you, my best friend. You left me to die. Hearing this makes Knockout kind of ache a bit. He's like, what? I didn't leave you to die. I didn't even know you were captured. All I heard was that you were killed and experimented on by humans. And Breakdown was like, okay, that's kind of true. I was experimented on, but I was saved by the Autobots. I wasn't killed. And hearing this, Naga was like, okay, but why are you with them? Why did you become an Autobot even? And hearing this breakdown is like, they saved my life. I tried to contact the Sedicon HQ. No one answered, even you. I was cut from communications. What was I supposed to do? I lost my eye. I was experimented on like a puppet. And my own enemies came in to save me. What do you expect me to do? And hearing this makes Knockout think for a bit. He is right. The Decepticons did technically abandon him. He had no one to rely on besides the Autobots. Hearing this does kind of make Knockout think for a bit. And seeing this, Breakdown decides to feed into it as he decides to make Knockout part of the Autobot cause. As he continues to speak about how good the Autobots are, like, best way I can describe this, he's pretty much just showing that the Autobots are saints and the Decepticons are just devils. Like, he's basically showing this. And the thing is, he has all the evidence. I mean, Megatron poisoning Cybertron, Megatron using Dark Energon, the blood of Unicron, the Chaos Bringer, and one of the most evilest and most corrupt beings in the entirety of the I mean, I was gonna say multiverse, but technically, it is true. But in the entire universe, in his universe, in this timeline. So, yeah, as Breakdown continues explaining and talking about the two causes and the two sides, Knockout is thinking everything he's saying is true. That the Decepticon cause is dishonorable. And we did technically abandon him. Even me, I'm his best friend and I didn't answer any of his communications or hotlines and I left him to die technically. The only people who saved him were the Autobots. Now, this is kind of hurting Knockout because, well, I mean, to be fair, imagine like you, imagine you didn't come and save your best friend, but his enemies came in and managed to bring him to his side. But he's trying to convince you to join his side because technically they're the good guys and they're doing everything right. Now, Knockout is hearing all the information and he's listening and he's just sighing every time, realizing he's spitting facts. Megatron has bro's using Dark Energon. Literally the blood of Unicron, plus the fact he has killed like innocent people, and the fact that he abandoned him. Like he didn't even give a second thought. And he even lied to Knockout that he was dead. And Knockout does realize this, and after like a little bit, Knockout sighs heavily. And seeing this breakdown just looks at him. And Knockout will look at Breakdown and he's like, what I'm about to do might get me killed. But hearing this makes Breakdown confused, wondering what does he mean. And then Knockout continues, but I'd rather join a side that's actually noble and righteous than a corrupt and evil side. Looking at Breakdown, he's like, get down. And quickly, Breakdown gets down, and we will see Knockout use apparently Gauntlet on both Soundwave and Arachnid. And pretty much, he does the same thing that RC did in the original timeline. Like, RC in the original timeline managed to fuse Breakdown and Arachnid. But in this timeline, it's Knockout using it to fuse both Soundwave and Arachnid and Laserbeak. And he pretty much just throws them straight to another mountain. And looking at the other Autobots, he's like, I might regret this, but I'll join a side. I'll join any side as long as you're there. And hearing this, Breakdown smiles, quickly getting up, and he's like, I'm glad to have you back on my side, Knockout. As both pretty much just dab each other up. And seeing this, Boca is like, well, that's not Autobot to the... Oh, sorry. Well, that's not an Autobot to the cause. And RC's like, that was my chance to kill her. She's she's pretty mad that she didn't get the chance to kill Riker, but it's whatever. They have the relic, and quickly the Autobots leave with knockouts, and they would arrive back at base. And seeing knockouts kind of surprises Ratchets and Bumblebee and Optimus, who like arrived afterwards. Like they arrived a bit earlier, like before this team, because they were like scouting for Energon and all that, but they would arrive like a bit early. And seeing Knockout surprises Optimus, and as he looks at Breakdown, Breakdown is like, well, I managed to convince him. And seeing this, Optimus smiles and is like, well, that's not an Autobot towards the other cause. You did good. You did good, Breakdown. You did good. And hearing this, Breakdown smiles and thanks Optimus. And now God will say, I know I can't. I know it's gonna be hard for my. I know it's gonna be hard for me to redeem myself and allow all my past sins to be forgiven, but I'm willing to change. I'm willing to become an Autobot, even though it's mostly because Breakdown is part of it. But you guys are the right side. And here on this, Optimus smiles and he pretty much just opens his arms and tells him, "Welcome to us. Welcome to the Autobots." And yeah, Knockout is part of the Autobots, and he gets two Autobot symbols on his hands. Yeah, no, not his hands. Sorry, his forearms. Yes, and he's part of the Autobot cause. Another medic to the team, and another scientist, and an extra warrior. Dang, bros, all three. Huh. That's interesting. And we would have we'll end the episode off with Soundwave arriving back towards the Nemesis. And Megatron is pissed off that he doesn't have anything, but when he shows him Arachnid, like how Breakdown did, Megatron's like, oh, I guess that's fine. I do need an extra warrior. Now, Soundwave would tell Megatron about Knockout and Breakdown, and hearing that Breakdown is alive kind of surprises Megatron that he's alive, and the fact that he joins the Autobots and also that Knockout betrayed them. Megatron is absolutely furious and wants both their heads. Like he's really mad right now, even though this guy is the reason why they joined them. Like he's the reason why they are like. Megatron is just a complicated guy, but yeah. Now we would just end the episode off with just Megatron having the most pissed off face ever and just wanting both Knockout and Breakdown's heads. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. We skip to episode 19, where we would just this episode is completely the same. There's not gonna be any Knockout or Breakdown because they're busy doing their own things, and yeah, we still have Jack, Aussie, Boken, and Miko going to that cave area. That doesn't really change much. So yeah, I mean the episode is pretty much the same. There's no changes. But episode 20, now this is where things will change because you see everything will play out the same. Arachnid telling about the Harbinger and Arachnid telling Megatron about the Harbinger, and Megatron getting mad at Starscream, forcing Starscream to take Arachnid towards the Harbinger. And obviously they go inside and still the Harbinger broke in half, and Arachnid forcing Starscream to tell her where the second part of the Harbinger is, and Starscream, obviously being intimidated by her, tells her what the second half is. Arachnid still webs him up and leaves him to die by the Autobots, and Starscream doing the same thing, telling Optimus about the Harbinger. Yeah, telling Optimus where the second part of the Harbinger is, and Optimus going with the other Autobots, and of course Starscream is still like he's still like captured as usual, put in handcuffs, and he's he's being watched by RC and Breakdown. Why not? Yeah, that'll actually be interesting. RC and Breakdown are watching Starscream to make sure he doesn't escape, and the Autobots go in to pretty much fight Arachnid, and that fight would kind of play out the same. Actually, I won't lie. It's just the same thing. But the situation with Starscream. Now this will play a bit different. Like you see, obviously Ozzy will be saying the same thing, saying she wants to kill Arachnid about sorry, she wants to kill Arachnid because she killed her partner. Yeah, Tailgate. My bad. It's been a while since I don't know what it. But yeah, pretty much she's telling this towards Breakdown and Starscream. Now, Starscream in this timeline does not say, what? She stole my kill? No, he does not say that. In this timeline, bro thinks it's better to just keep my mouth shut. Bro decides to keep his mouth shut because of two reasons. He doesn't really want that smoke because he can see Aussie's. Aussie in this timeline is actually more pissed off because of I can't lie because she almost killed a writer in episode 18, so she's very pissed off right now. Like Aussie's actually more pissed off than she was in the original timeline. So yeah, and seeing that, seeing that Starscream decides to just keep his mouth shut. Instead, he says something smart. He's like, "Oh, which partner is that?" And hearing this, RC's like, "Tailgates." Not really thinking much about that answer. And Breakdown is like, "Oh, him? Oh yeah. I had she kind of cooked him." And hearing this, RC looks at Breakdown, and Breakdown's like, "That's what I had. Don't be mad at me." And RC just rolls her eyes. Now, hearing this, Starscream is like, "Ooh, good." Thank Primus. Thank Primus. I was gonna say something dumb. I was gonna say something about the cliff jumper. Oh, but I'm glad I kept my mouth shut. Starscream actually being happy he kept his mouth shut. But yeah, now we would just see Arachnid leave, and seeing this, Aussie gets mad and she decides to check on the others and orders Breakdown to stay behind to pretty much make sure Starscream doesn't escape. She goes and sees Optimus, Knockout, and Bulkhead frozen, but Bumblebee fine. And in this timeline, Bumblebee doesn't really break the immobilizer because he thinks in this timeline, like he thinks ahead. Like in this timeline, he decides not to break it, thinking that if he does, they would be immobilized forever. So he decides not to do it. And seeing this, RC would ask what happened. Bumblebee would explain. RC kind of getting frustrated and thinking it was probably a good idea because, like, good idea for her to stay behind because if she got immobilized, she wouldn't be able to get her revenge if Arachnid killed her while she was immobilized because Decepticons have no honor, so honor all that. Now they'll contact Ratchet and explain the situation, and hearing this, Ratchet's like, I think I can I think I can undo what Arachnid did to them, but can you like go inside the Harbinger and check if there's anything we can use? Hearing this, Bumblebee and RC look at each other and think about it, and they decide to go inside. Now, as Breakdown is just busy guarding Starscream, Starscream looks at Breakdown and asks why he joined the Autobots. Breakdown says the same thing, and he tells Starscream he can also join. Even someone like him can join because he's done a lot of crimes. He's gotten many wreckers killed and has killed many Autobots himself. So he looks like he can't be redeemed, but he can be redeemed. He tells him that anybody can be redeemed. Optimus Prime said it himself. Now Starscream thinks about it, and he does think he's been with the Decepticons for a long time. And Megatron has always beaten him, always treating him horribly, and he doesn't really want to be a part of that. The Decepticons have been just bad to him. So he's just wondering, should he join the Autobots? He does think about it. He does think about it. And he's considering and seeing this, not I'm sorry, Breakdown is like, maybe I can even convince Soundwave. Maybe. Who knows? And we would just see Bumblebee and RC inside the Harbinger checking around, and them finding a few things, and them finding the five protoforms. Yeah, I'm doing this early because honestly, I have no idea why didn't this happen. Listen, to be honest, it's kind of dumb that they didn't go inside and check for more things, even though they're busy talking about they should have more edges and all that, like in the original timeline, and yet they didn't check the entire time. But whatever, whatever. Even the Certicons didn't do that. It makes no sense. But let's just continue. Now they would grab the five chloroforms in a few things, and Breakdown would bring Starscream, Optimus, Bulkhead, and Bumblebee and Knockouts through the ground bridge, and also Optimus trailer. He takes everything. Well, he tries to, but he can't. But he does take everything one at a time and brings everything back. Now, the episode will end off with RC and Bumblebee putting down the protoforms and a few things they found, and Ratchet using the immobilizer to unmobilize the other Autobots such as Knockout, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and Optimus. And we would see Breakdown putting Starscream in a cell gently, unlike some of the Autobots who probably shove him, push him, or even throw him like on the ground. But he puts him gently, like he doesn't push or anything. He just asks him to go inside. Starscream goes inside like a willing prisoner and sits down. And before Breakdown leaves, he tells Starscream he does have a choice to either join them or do his own thing. And Starscream, sorry, after that, Breakdown closes the door and then leaves. And we just see Starscream thinking about it. And yeah, the episode ends off with a shot of the protoforms, showing the protoforms. And we shall see what the Autobots will do in the next part. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.